We grew up watching movies that taught us what love should feel like. The man who storms into your life, not the one who quietly stays. The one who breaks the rules, not the one who builds the house. Every story told us the same lie, that peace is dull and passion is pain. He grabs her wrist, she gasps, and we call it chemistry. He yells, she cries, and we call it honesty. They fight, break up, kiss in the rain, and we call it destiny. We were never shown what calm love looks like. No camera ever lingered on two people washing dishes together or falling asleep at the same time every night. Because peace doesn't sell tickets. Chaos does. Even songs repeat the same pattern. I can't live without you. I hate that I love you. You're my addiction. We confuse obsession with devotion. We mistake emotional hunger for depth. Social media took that confusion and made it a lifestyle. Now it's a language. Posts about toxic soulmates, quotes about broken people loving the hardest, videos of couples fighting, crying, forgiving, looped endlessly, captioned with hearts and flames. We don't see love anymore. We see withdrawal symptoms. Two nervous systems addicted to each other's chaos. And we applaud it. We call it real. We share it with captions like, "This is what love looks like." But it isn't. It's dependency. It's fear disguised as passion. Yet it makes sense why it spreads, because the calm relationships are invisible. They don't post every moment. They don't chase drama for validation. They're too busy living. So the world grows up thinking that love should look like suffering, that if it's easy, it must be fake, that if it's peaceful, it must be missing something. And that's how we all became addicts to intensity. But the problem runs deeper than culture, because the stories we tell are reflections of our biology. They resonate because they match the rhythm of our own hormones. Dopamine highs, cortisol crashes, adrenaline rushes. We think we're falling in love, but we're just riding a chemical wave. In the modern world, danger is rare, but the body still craves the thrill. So when a woman meets a man who gives her that unpredictability, her nervous system lights up like it used to when the tiger was near. Fear and excitement share the same circuitry. The brain doesn't know the difference. It only knows it feels alive again. That's why bad boys aren't a mystery. They're a mirror of evolution, a living memory of the men who once ruled the wild. Rough edges, fast reactions, no apologies. They walk into a room, and the ancient parts of her brain whisper, "He could protect me or destroy me." And that paradox, that mixture of fear and fascination, feels like love. But it isn't love. It's a chemical echo, a survival reflex replaying itself in modern time. To understand why women fall for bad boys, you have to go back, far back, to when survival, not happiness, decided attraction. Back then, life wasn't about emotions. It was about safety. A woman's best chance of keeping her children alive depended on the man who could fight, build, and lead. Aggression wasn't toxic, it was necessary. Confidence wasn't arrogance, it was assurance, the kind that said, "I can handle the world." When danger came, the gentle man didn't survive long enough to prove his kindness. But the dominant man did, and that dominance, that raw readiness for confrontation, was burned into the female nervous system as a signal of safety. Fast forward thousands of years. The threats are gone, but the signal remains. Her DNA still remembers the man who could protect the tribe. Her hormones still respond to power. Her instincts still equate unpredictability with strength. That's why the modern bad boy feels strangely familiar. He carries that same ancient rhythm. Bold, unapologetic, reckless, alive. He triggers something deeper than thought, a pulse of recognition that whispers he can survive. But the modern world has changed the rules. Today, survival isn't about killing the predator. It's about emotional stability, consistency, patience. Yet the ancient brain hasn't updated its software. It still rewards the man who radiates danger. This is the paradox. The same traits that once meant protection now create destruction. The same aggression that built civilizations now ruins relationships. When she feels the rush near him, it's not love, it's adrenaline. It's the body mistaking emotional chaos for physical safety, because deep down, she isn't choosing cruelty. She's choosing certainty. The certainty that he can act, that he won't freeze when life tests them, that he has fire, even if he doesn't know how to aim it. So when a woman says, "I don't know why I always fall for the wrong men," it isn't stupidity or weakness. It's biology caught in a time loop, still looking for the warrior in a world that no longer needs one. When people say, "He gives me butterflies," they rarely understand what those butterflies really are. They're not romance. They're stress hormones. A mix of adrenaline, dopamine, and cortisol spinning through the bloodstream, fooling the body into believing that fear is excitement. In the ancient world, that chemical storm was useful. It told you danger was near, that something powerful was happening. Your heart raced because you needed to survive. But today, that same chemistry fires up in moments of emotional uncertainty, when he doesn't text back, when his tone changes, when she doesn't know what he'll do next. That uncertainty, that unpredictability creates a high more addictive than any drug. He disappears. Cortisol spikes. She panics. He returns. Dopamine floods her system. Relief. And now the brain associates his inconsistency with the same pleasure centers, triggered by reward and safety. It's not love. It's reinforcement. A biological slot machine, never knowing when the next hit of validation will come. That pattern, called intermittent reward, is the foundation of every addiction known to man. When you treat someone unpredictably, their brain can't relax. It keeps scanning for signs of danger or approval. And that tension, that anticipation, creates obsession. The same principle that keeps gamblers at slot machines keeps lovers hooked on emotional chaos. Meanwhile, the good man, steady, calm, predictable, doesn't trigger any of that. His stability releases oxytocin, not dopamine. Oxytocin feels warm, safe, connected, but compared to dopamine's spike, it feels quiet, and quiet feels boring. So modern relationships fall into a paradox. We're wired for safety, but addicted to danger. We crave calm, but chase the chaos that destroys it. Psychologists call it trauma bonding, when pain and pleasure overlap so tightly that the body can't tell them apart. It's not masochism, it's memory. Every time she's hurt and forgiven, every time he disappears and returns, the emotional bond grows stronger, not weaker, because the brain starts believing that the high after pain is love. And here's the cruel twist. The same mechanism traps men too. The good guy who keeps trying to win her approval, who over-explains, over-texts, over-apologizes, he's also addicted. He's chasing the same dopamine rush, but his drug is hope. The hope that if he's good enough, patient enough, kind enough, she'll finally see him. Two nervous systems locked in a loop, one addicted to the thrill of chaos, the other addicted to the dream of fixing it. That's why you can't reason with attraction. You can't logic someone out of a biochemical pattern. You can't tell her, "He's bad for you," because her body disagrees. It remembers the adrenaline, the dopamine, the intensity that made her feel alive. And that's the trap, because being alive is not the same as being safe. Excitement and connection are not the same thing, but the brain, ancient, emotional, hungry for stimulation, still confuses them. So she keeps running back to the man who triggers her pain instead of the one who can hold her peace. Not because she wants to suffer, but because her chemistry mistakes suffering for love. Now picture this. A woman meets a man who is kind, attentive, and steady. He listens more than he speaks. He offers safety without demanding attention. He is everything she swears she wants. At first, she feels calm, maybe too calm. She waits for the spark, the rush, but it never comes. Instead, she feels a quiet comfort that her body doesn't yet recognize as attraction. So she begins to test it. Not because she's manipulative, but because her instincts are confused. They whisper, "Where's the edge? Where's the danger? Can he protect me if he never pushes back?" So she pokes. She challenges his opinion on something small. She disagrees just to see how he reacts. Will he stand his ground or fold? When he folds, she feels disappointment she can't explain. When he stays calm but firm, something inside her softens. She feels seen, not obeyed, not dominated, met. That's the hidden truth about these tests. They're not about power. They're about safety. They're the ancient nervous system searching for proof of strength. Can his presence hold her emotions without breaking? But most good men misunderstand these moments. They see disagreement as danger. They rush to fix it. They apologize too fast. They trade truth for harmony. Believing peace means avoiding storms. Yet to her instincts, peace without spine feels like emptiness. If he agrees too easily, she can't feel his direction. If he never says no, she never feels his leadership. Without resistance, she can't relax, because her body doesn't feel protected. It feels responsible. That's why so many women say, "I feel like his mother, not his partner." Not because he's weak, but because he hides his strength behind kindness. Meanwhile, the bad boy plays a different game. He doesn't apologize easily. He sets his rules without explaining. He walks away when things get tense, not out of wisdom, but because he knows instinctively that distance breeds desire. When he leaves, she feels panic. When he returns, relief floods in. Her body records that cycle as love. Pain, release, repeat. Each round deepens the bond, not emotionally, but chemically. The bad boy wins these tests not because he's better, but because he's indifferent. His refusal to seek approval mimics the same dominance that once kept tribes alive. He doesn't need her validation, and that absence of need feels like strength. But strength without empathy is still weakness in disguise, because while he holds power, he cannot hold peace. And the good man, the one who could build peace, never learned to hold power. Two halves of the same broken equation, one with fire but no warmth, the other with warmth but no fire, until both understand that love isn't found in domination or surrender, but in balance. They keep repeating the same dance, generation after generation. At first, the relationship feels alive. The fights are fire. The silence between them hums like electricity. Every reunion feels cinematic. Apologies, tears, long embraces. It's chaos, but it's theirs. Friends warn her. She defends him. "They just don't understand us," she says. "They don't know what we've been through." But what they've been through is the same storm on repeat, the same script, just louder every time. She tells herself, the drama means depth. He tells himself, The chaos means connection. Both confuse intensity with intimacy, until one day, the thrill stops working. The dopamine fades, the arguments feel empty, and the adrenaline can't cover the exhaustion. What once felt passionate now feels heavy. The same spark that lit the fire is now burning everything they built. She begins to see the cost, the anxiety that never leaves, the constant guessing, the waiting for the next withdrawal. Her nervous system, stretched thin from years of spikes and crashes, starts to crave something quieter. Not excitement, relief. But relief feels foreign. Peace feels like loss. So when she finally meets a calm man, she doesn't know what to do with him. He texts back, shows up, stays, and she feels nothing. Her body doesn't yet recognize safety as attraction. The bad boy changed her wiring. Her brain learned to equate chaos with love, and now stillness feels wrong, like silence after years of sirens. Meanwhile, the good man watches from another world. He's tired of being told he's too nice. He tried patience, empathy, listening, and all it earned him was invisibility. He wonders if being good is a curse, if women really want cruelty disguised as confidence. But he's wrong, too. What women want isn't cruelty, it's clarity. They don't crave pain, they crave presence. The bad boy appears confident because he doesn't need to please. He's unpredictable because he's unapologetically himself. And that authenticity, however reckless, feels like strength. The good man loses not because he's gentle, but because he hides behind his gentleness. He's afraid to show his edges, afraid to risk disapproval. He trades truth for peace and ends up with neither. So she runs toward chaos for feeling, and he retreats into silence for safety. Two people missing each other by instinct. Then comes the breaking point. She realizes the chaos isn't passion, it's panic. He realizes that kindness without boundaries isn't love, it's self-erasure, and both begin to wake up. He starts to speak slower, firmer, not to control her, but to be heard. He stops apologizing for having a voice, and she begins to listen differently, not to the noise, but to the consistency. It's not dramatic, it's not viral, but it's real, because real love doesn't demand constant crisis. It doesn't spike your heartbeat, it steadies it. It doesn't drain you to prove it's alive. It gives you space to breathe. That's the paradox most never see. The bad boy awakens her emotions. The good man heals them. One sets her on fire. The other teaches her how to live in the warmth. But healing doesn't look exciting. It looks quiet. It looks slow. It looks like two people learning to stand in the same calm without running back to the storm. Here's what most men never understand. A woman doesn't want a man who dominates her. She wants a man who can't be shaken. Because deep down, she knows life will. It will test, break, twist, and try every part of her. And when that happens, she doesn't need a savior. She needs a presence, someone steady enough to stand still when the world spins. That's why confidence feels like oxygen. Not because it's flashy or loud, but because it anchors her chaos. The bad boy simulates that strength. For a while, he looks fearless because he has nothing to lose. But recklessness isn't courage. It's the absence of fear, not the mastery of it. True strength is quieter. It's the ability to feel the storm and stay centered, to be kind without being submissive, to listen without losing your ground. But here's the tragedy. Many good men mistake gentleness for weakness. They think love means silence, that to keep her happy, they must erase themselves. They agree when they want to disagree. They comfort her even when she disrespects them. They sacrifice their truth for peace, and then wonder why she stops respecting them. A man who hides behind kindness doesn't offer peace, he offers vacancy, and the feminine senses it instantly, because her instinct is tuned not to words, but to energy. She doesn't listen to what you say, she listens to what your nervous system says. If you shrink when she raises her voice, if you apologize for existing, if your presence collapses, her body no longer feels safe. It's not about ego, it's biology. Her primal brain asks, if he can't handle me, how can he handle life? So she keeps testing, louder, harder, deeper, not because she wants to hurt him, but because she wants to feel him, to know that something solid exists beneath his surface. The bad boy passes the test for the wrong reason. He stands his ground, not from discipline, but from defiance. And defiance, at first, looks like confidence, but it's empty. It can't hold anything for long. It burns bright, then disappears. The good man fails for the opposite reason. He has depth, empathy, compassion, but he's buried it under compliance. He tries to prove his love by disappearing inside hers, and the moment he does, she loses polarity, the magnetic charge between them. Because love isn't sameness, it's tension in harmony, the dance of two energies that don't merge but intertwine. The masculine provides structure. The feminine fills it with life. Take away one, and the other collapses. That's why the world feels so lost today. Too many men afraid of their power. Too many women forced to wield theirs. We've built equality, but we've forgotten polarity. True balance isn't sameness. It's difference respected. The man who stands firm gives her the freedom to be soft. The woman who trusts gives him the reason to lead. Together, they stop fighting for dominance and start creating direction. So what does that look like in real life? It's not shouting louder. It's standing quieter. It's saying no with calm eyes. It's choosing truth over comfort. It's showing her that your love has boundaries, because without boundaries, there is no trust. Boundaries are the shape of love. They tell her, this is where I end, and you begin. This is where we meet, as equals, not as mirrors. And when she feels that clarity, something ancient in her relaxes. She stops testing. She starts trusting, because she no longer needs to find your edges. You've already drawn them. The world teaches men to chase women, but the truth is, women are drawn to gravity, not charm, not perfection. Gravity, the quiet pull of a man who knows who he is. When a man can hold his own center, a woman can finally rest in hers. That's when attraction becomes peace. That's when passion becomes presence. The bad boy makes her body react. The strong man makes her soul exhale. And that difference is everything. So what should a good man do? Should he become colder, harder, more distant? Should he pretend not to care, just to trigger desire? Number. That's not strength. That's performance. Real strength doesn't need an audience. It doesn't demand applause. It's quiet. It's steady. It's rooted in truth. Stop trying to be loved for your softness. Start being respected for your clarity. Because love without respect dies quietly, like a flame without air. Don't play the bad boy. Don't act like someone you're not. Just stop apologizing for who you are. Stop negotiating your boundaries for temporary comfort. If she tests you, hold steady. If she disagrees, stay calm. If she pushes, don't collapse, don't fight. Simply remain. That's what she's looking for, even if she doesn't know it. Because your presence is the proof. Your stillness tells her more than 1,000 promises ever could. Your calm is the answer to her chaos. Your certainty is the cure to her confusion. You don't have to raise your voice. You don't have to win arguments. You only have to stop disappearing. When you look her in the eyes and say what you actually mean, without anger, without fear, she feels something ancient, the echo of safety, the feeling her nervous system has been chasing through every heartbreak and every mistake. That's what leadership looks like. Not control, not dominance, direction. A man with direction doesn't need to prove his worth. He lives it. He walks with purpose, and that purpose radiates from him like quiet gravity. And when a woman feels that gravity, she doesn't need to test it. She can finally rest in it. Her energy softens. Her guard lowers. Her heart opens. Because she's no longer reacting. She's trusting. And trust is the real foundation of desire. That's the secret nobody teaches. The more peaceful you become, the more powerful your presence feels. Because peace is not the absence of fire. It's fire under control. That's what separates the strong from the cruel, the grounded from the reckless. Cruelty destroys. Control preserves. True masculinity isn't the opposite of gentleness. It's gentleness with power behind it. The ability to protect without punishing. To lead without demanding. To love without losing yourself. And true femininity isn't submission. It's trust. Trust that the man beside her will not vanish the moment she tests his strength. That's the alchemy of love. His firmness allows her softness. Her softness deepens his purpose. Two energies balancing, not battling. Two souls evolving, not escaping. This is what modern love forgot. That peace isn't boring. It's rare. It's sacred. It's the only space where both people can grow without fear of losing themselves. So if you're a good man, stay good. But stop hiding your fire behind politeness. Let your words carry weight. Let your eyes show certainty. Let your silence mean something. Because the world doesn't need more loud men. It needs present ones. Men who listen but don't vanish. Men who care but don't crumble. Men who can be soft without being small. And when you find that balance, you stop chasing love. You start attracting peace. And peace is what she's been looking for all along. Not the storm, not the thrill, just the stillness after the thunder, when the air is clear and both can breathe again. Because in the end, love isn't about excitement. It's about expansion. The right person doesn't give you butterflies. They give you wings.